To make this spicy, I want you to imagine that you are a game developer, right? You're working at a big company and, well, your bonuses have continually been slashed. You're worried about your job maybe being axed, maybe your segment of the game getting a massive cut. You're working on a game that has lost much of its original deep fan base and is surrounded by drama. You do a whole bunch of work. You want to make the game better because you're a game developer. That's why you even did this in the first place. But guess what? The headlines about your game are a $40 weapon with $10 upcharges. So yes, today we're going to be talking about live services, specifically Overwatch 2, because what happens if your game exists to sell cosmetics, not video game? And what if the last time that your company tried to sell video game within your video game, it was the invasion pack that notably seems to have completely bombed, that led to people not getting their bonuses? Yeah, it's pretty damn rough. So let's dive in, of course, with the support and the help of all of our people over at Bellular.games. Over there, we've got ad-free videos, we got loading screen, we're all hanging out in the Discord together, so if you want more of what we do and to support the mission, that's the place. With that said, let's talk about their attempt. So, Season 11 of Overwatch has started. It's got basically a battle pass that is themed around, like, Power Rangers, Kaiju, that kind of thing, which, to be honest, I should be pretty weak to. The legendary skin, by the way, is Rita Repulsa for Ashe. There's new mythic cosmetics for weapons, we'll be talking about that, a reworked weekly challenge progression, and of course a delicious purchase opportunity that's actually good, because it's basically the return of Pink Mercy, and the thing that matters there is that the proceeds go directly to cancer research, so that is a very, very, very good thing indeed. So it's called Overwatch, TLDR, Power Rangers. The big headline thing for them is 100 million players. 3 months ago, they said they were on track to hit that. They now have hit that, and ostensibly that's why they're doing the whole Mercy thing again. And in a case like this, before we get into the real juicy meat of it, what I actually like to do is take a look at some of the numbers, because it's always good to be grounded just in a little bit of that reality. So what we do know is, at least for a period, they were making a shitload of money, and that's because they were actually way up in Steam, sandwiched in between Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree. Yes, they were ranked 3, just behind Elden Ring and the Steam Deck. That's pretty damn impressive, of course, especially because a lot of people still play Overwatch on Battle.net, right? They do that whole thing in Battle.net, their friends are in Battle.net. That makes a lot of sense. It's where Overwatch launched, so I don't exactly know what the audience split is, but what we do know is that a segment of the audience on Steam is buying enough stuff that this has absolutely surged all the way up. And a similar thing does happen with, say, Call of Duty whenever they do a new Black Cell Battle Pass. Man, those things sell absolutely crazy. Now, let's talk about numbers, because they're actually kind of interesting. So here's the overall performance for Overwatch 2, basically since the start of this year. And we can see that their average player counts are a bit below 25k, and, they're sort of more spiky numbers. They are resting just above 25k at the start of the year. Then, mid-February, we see a pretty good spike as a season launches. I believe Season 9, then Season 10 launches a little bit into the middle of April, and we can see that Season 10 really did boost things up. And that does make sense to me. It actually had a few neat things going. But of course, neat things that I now would not be able to play or check out, which does mean that any of those wins represented by that lovely high player count number, that in a way they're not particularly relevant, because I found out about them too late. Now, this season's only just launched. That does mean that we don't have a lot of data for it. Doesn't seem to be a humongous spike, but it definitely is getting a healthy enough spike. And as you compare Overwatch 2 at the very start of 2024 to where we are right now, halfway through 2024, you do actually see that they've done pretty well. They were having their player counts a bit more in the 25Ks, now they're a little bit more over 40k. So that is going to be pretty healthy. There's times they're even touching or even surpassing 50k. Of course, 50k concurrence is not a humongous amount if we're talking about the top echelon of video games, but again, you've got to remember, this is only Steam, one platform, and Overwatch is mostly on BNet. So certainly plenty of players, and that does mean plenty of people to go and buy the things that will make them the money. But before we talk about money and tactics, actually they are doing one interesting thing. I think this is really, really smart marketing. It actually harnesses some community angst. So basically, there's a creator-made balance for the game, right? You know the idea where people would be like, oh my god, if only we could make the changes, the game would be better. And essentially, they've done that as a bit of a marketing beat. It's in the form of an arcade mode, and there are support changes by SK, there are projectile hero changes by Kusta, hit scan hero changes by TQQ, and a bunch of tank changes from Among. So basically, 4 streamers being given the opportunity to actually test out some of their theories within, of course, the limits of existing Overwatch. And you've got things like ability and movement changes, say Roadhog pulling himself towards enemies, so that's kind of crazy, nerfs, buffs to different things, and completely new abilities, as an example, for Orisa. It's quite a lot, actually. So the devs have actually given this a proper fair shake. They have absolutely went and implemented mechanical changes for this mode, which of course does make sense. This is a strong marketing beat. Now, there are crazy out there things which wouldn't really work, but there are actually some changes that people love, to the degree where people are basically campaigning for some of these things to be rolled into the proper balance for the game, which is actually really damn cool. Like, actually, props to the creators, number one. Also, props to Blizzard. Yes, on the game design side, but I'd also say on the marketing side, this is a great example of marketing. And it's one that I recently saw done very well in a completely different sector, and that is with the Nothing Buds 2. Now, they do have other earbuds beyond that, but basically, I think the Nothing Ear 1, right? There was a guy on YouTube, he did a review of them, like a more technical one, and absolutely ravaged them. So, Nothing reached out to him. They end up having him basically do a whole bunch of work and testing with their new product, and then, of course, they do a little marketing video. Well, they do a video together, and it ends up being that the next product was better, that this, creator was involved in a whole bunch of tuning and stuff for the headphones, and actually some of his work ended up in the shipped product. Now, that's a really, really good example of Nothing. Number one, yes, wanting to make their product better, but also getting really good, marketing. And it's not really just marketing, it's also a story with people, and in this case, it'll be a story with a bunch of streamers that many players will know. So that's a really, really smart way to market your game. And let's be real, that kind of warm community feeling is what some people have felt they've somewhat lost in the new world of Overwatch, basically being a game that is nickel and diming you to buy cosmetics, which is in some ways different to what the older game had been. Now, there are 1 or 2 other good features before I get into us having a good old laugh about the money side of things. So, weekly challenge catch-up. Listen to this. All past incomplete weekly challenges can be completed at any time in a given season. When the weekly reset occurs on Tuesdays, incomplete weekly challenges gain an additional copy of that challenge. When a weekly challenge is completed, if that challenge has copies remaining, the challenge will refresh and be completed again. Which, honestly, that's pretty good. That is actually slicing away a little bit of FOMO, right? It's basically stacking up potentially earnable rewards rather than saying you can get a big chunk of reward every week, but if you're not there in a given week, you won't be able to get it. So I do think that that is smart. Obviously, from Blizzard's perspective, they probably think that this will have positive impacts on, on player behavior. They've also talked about weekly milestones, which are challenges progressed by doing other weekly challenges. Each week, a new one will unlock, and all past ones can be completed again at any time within a given season. Those are definitely very positive changes, and across so many different games. Of course, very notably with Halo Infinite around its launch, having iffy weekly challenge design when that is a fairly core part of, say, your battle pass progression, that can do serious damage to a game. Again, because what they're marketing at people and what they are overtly telling people they should go and progress is a big extrinsic reward thing. So, you cock that up and you end up in a pretty rough situation. But speaking of rough, well, this is what they're doing. Okay, there's a $40 weapon skin with $10 upgrades. Specifically what it is a new mythic weapon for Reinhardt. And this is a weapon that, like with the heroic weapons, can be equipped regardless of what skin your character is using. Now, basically, the way that things work with the mythic prisms is there's a mythic skin in Overwatch, right? And to buy the entire mythic skin costs 80 prisms, and every premium battle pass gives you 80 prisms if you, of course, complete it. So basically the way it works is there's a mythic skin added every single season, and the premium battle pass in total gives you enough prisms to buy a completely maxed out version of that mythic skin, though you can buy more basic versions of the skin for less prisms. What they've essentially done is they've taken a little bit of the FOMO out of it, but there still is some FOMO, and they've done that via a currency, because previously you needed to complete the battle pass to get the mythic skin. Of course, with this new way of doing things, it is more friendly to players, right? If you only want the basic version of a mythic skin, well, you can get that and then put your spare prisms towards something else. But of course, when you see a dev do that, when you see a new currency, especially one that could be premium, you've got to think, how will they do this? And, well, they've done it in this way, right? They're going to be adding in this mythic for Reinhardt, and it's a pretty involved one, right? They say that it's going to have a bunch of exclusive sound and visual effects, and they say it's another way to spend your prisms, and you can unlock the base skin for 50 prisms, which is the equivalent of $40 on their in-game store, and then you can unlock additional levels at 10 mythic prisms, including a weapon flourish emote, elimination visual effects, and reactive effects. Now, we don't know what the full final price will be, but it could be 80 prisms. And you know what that means, everybody? Well, yeah, I mean, of course you know what it means. Of course you do, because the Battle Pass, the way that this was sold to players, right, is the Battle Pass will give you enough prisms that you can just go and get the whole, get the mythic skin that you want. The entire, reason, the framing behind this was a player-friendly one to give you a way to earn prior mythic skins. Say, if you don't like the current season's mythic skin, that's fine. You can buy the premium battle pass anyway and spend the prisms on another skin that you do like. Of course, what happens with this is that now there is more mythic skin content between the weapon and the hero skin in a season than you get in the premium battle pass. And that then means that this as a currency, as an economy, is more important. So yeah, I mean, basically, there you go. This is a way for them to sell a decently substantial, well, they're like a lot of money. I mean, look how expensive this is going to be. I mean, look, let's say you're a completionist style of player, so you get the premium battle pass, right? You get that, you get your 80 prisms, you use those to max out the current mythic skin, say, but then you also want the weapon. Well, if the weapon costs 50 base, that's 40 USD. If, though, fully upgrading the weapon takes it to a total cost of 80 mythic prisms, guess how much money you have to spend? You either buy 50 prisms and then buy 30 prisms, which would cost you $40 plus $25, a total of $65. Now, there is a package of prisms. 75 prisms plus 25 bonus for $74.99, which of course is a better deal in a sort of dollar per prism way, but it is quite funny that to fully max the weapon, you would need 80 prisms, yet the denominations they sell are 10, 30, 50, and 100. That gap between 50 and 100 is hilarious. Basically, they want people to spend like $75, which is absolutely quite rough. Now, you may be thinking about other things, like, isn't there another premium currency in the game? The answer, of course, yes. It's the Overwatch coins, right? So let's just dive into a little bit of how the business model is currently being ran. So the premium battle pass costs 1,000 coins or 2,200 coins with 20 tier skips included. Now, of course, if you are a discerning gamer, which I know you are, you're going to make the smart choice. You're going to buy the $40 pack because it's got the premium battle pass, it's got the 20 tier skips, it's got a 20% XP bonus, it comes with 2,000 Overwatch coins. That's let's just say $20 in value. So there you go. Basically it's free because it's such a good value. They highlight that the pass, of course, that you get in this bundle lets you unlock a total of 80 prisms and 600 additional coins. But then we have the Kaiju Roadhog and Kaiju Zenyatta. Guess what they are? Those are legendary skins. They are legendary skins that you cannot get in any other way, right? You cannot buy them with Overwatch coins or, no, they're unique to this bundle. That's how they work. So, yeah, if you want to be a completionist, actually, you need to buy the $40 pack, and then you will need to buy a whole bunch more prisms. Again, I say completionist, and some people may argue that this isn't a completionism thing. Well, certainly I would think about the gameplay patterns of Overwatch players during the Overwatch 1 era, where very much one thing they enjoyed doing was collecting skins. Well, now the thing is, it's not about collecting anymore, it's about buying. And of course, the people, it was a lot more exciting when they could complete some games and they could earn a loot box, and maybe they get a skin that they want from that loot box, or maybe they get event loot boxes because they're playing an event and unlocking those, and they are collecting those skins. Now, yes, there was a way that people could go and spend money in the loot boxes, and obviously that, loot boxes suck. Yes. But here I do actually think it's just more smartly put together to get money out of people, again, because of the way that, yes, there are premium currencies, but they are actually quite siloed and divided, especially with there being some skins that are only available via upfront, real-world money purchases. That, of course, will mean that loads of players have loads of spare Overwatch coins. You cannot turn Overwatch coins into prisms. What you'll do with your Overwatch coins, of course, is to either purchase the next season's pass, or of course to purchase things from the rotating store. And the thing is, if you're a completionist, you don't want to spend your Overwatch coins on the premium battle pass, because when the next premium battle pass comes, there will be a $40 bundle that will probably have truly unique exclusive things. And a lot of people will say, okay, yeah, but how could they do they really think people will play the game like that? Well, it's what they want them to do, because that's how they've designed their business model. Then, of course, there's also a $10 starter pack, and this is all amid them actually getting quite a lot of criticism. So just scanning around the community, a lot of people talking about legendary recolors. Now, this has been going on for ages, but this is a really easy example for Soldier 76, where there is a new skin for him. Guess what? It's a straight recolor of another legendary skin. It's then also being sold in a bundle with a Hanzo legendary skin, that is, of course, a recolor of another Hanzo legendary skin. Now, to be honest with you, I think if you get one legendary skin and they're going to be doing the recolor thing, they should be giving people a pretty substantial discount on the other, recolors. I'm just thinking about how the value is assigned in a legendary skin, and yes, some of that's the color, but mostly it's the new geometry, it's all of the more high effort, expensive things. So I think that to do a palette swap and to just have that be the same price, I don't know. I think there should be some sort of thing where you buy a legendary skin and you get a discount on its recolors, but maybe that would be just being too nice to your customers. Why do that when maybe you can, you can get more out of the pay pigs some other way? The other side of things then is the battle pass. Again, in this example, at the end of the battle pass, you do get, I think, a Genji skin that is a recolor of another legendary Genji skin, and big picture, the theme of Overwatch players being less and less satisfied with the battle passes they're getting, that is something that, of course, is continuing. What's also continuing, of course, is events and promotions. As an example, they have, they have the summer event, and along with that, there are lifeguard skins. So you can get lifeguard Kiriko, which I think they know they'll, I don't know, maybe earn their bonuses back on. And also the Transformers collaboration. I mean, I suppose that makes sense, because yes, it's just brands everywhere. Brands everywhere forever. That is the world that we live in. I mean, even as an example, take a sister game of Overwatch, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. I look at that and it makes my eyes want to scream, which of course is very inconvenient because my eyes don't have mouths. Call of Duty doesn't look like Call of Duty anymore. It doesn't. You have Space Marines and Homelander and Lilith and Anarius and Brand people flipping knockoff Mulder and Scully. It doesn't look like Call of Duty anymore. You know what, actually? I wanted to play a modern military shooter. That's what I do if I want to boot up Call of Duty. To me, it actually part ruins the experience that I have to go and see all of this garish brand promotion tripe within a game. It makes the actual game experience worse, and it makes it so damn clear that the game exists to be a cosmetic selling platform. Oh man, I mean, basically, right? This is like a weird digital fast fashion, I suppose, with a less exploitative supply chain, which is a plus, but still, it's very tiresome. And it brings me to my main worry: transience and meaning. Here's the thing: why would I bother with any of this when I can't experience a large percentage of the developer's effort unless I play just about all of the time? Now, I know that some things need to be time limited because you don't want to click the play button in your game and have 8,000 icons for all the different modes appear. Like, I get it, that's a problem. But I don't know, man, it just feels like the infinite churn. How does this have value? And I suppose we're seeing them try to earn more money, slicing up their different premium currencies by having unique skins that can only be purchased in a bundle that does have premium currency, but, can only be purchased with USD. That's the way that they're earning more money, doing these brand promotions and things like that. And all the while that happens, organizational will, effort, attention, focus, it's going into that. Like, what gets measured gets managed. And look at what they're tweeting about, look at what they're talking. It's always goddamn skins, not really core Overwatch itself. And also, it used to be that the skins could sort of expand the Overwatch universe. There'd be a new skin for Soldier 76, and then people could say, well, what does this skin reveal about the past of that character, where he came from, what his story was? But now the skins are just either brand tripe or random theme of the battle pass tripe, because guess what? We just need to keep on flicking shit at the wall. So it, to me, feels like they're not building their brand. They're just trying to flip and squeeze money out of it. And there's times recently I've hung out with people who were 1000% Overwatch, lived Overwatch. They bled Overwatch for years. And I don't mean just as like competitive players. No, I mean people who loved the skins, who read every webcomic, who got properly excited for new cinematics to drop. They gave a shit about the world, right? Talking to those people nowadays, they're like, oh, nah, it went wrong. It's dead to me. I don't care. Look at it. And yeah, while you do have people who are playing Overwatch, and while I still think that Overwatch 2 is actually a really fun game to play, I feel like there is something more broad that is being lost. I mean, I look at this and it just, to me, appears like stuff. It resembles things made using artistic skill sets, but it less and less resembles art. Of course, the new map, the new push map. Oh, that's great. That's art. That's game design. Awesome. But more and more, it's about what makes the money come in. And this is a business model that I think is absolutely not in the best interest of games being good. You look at all of the work that goes into Call of Duty basically having a new themed bundle every 10 seconds. That is work, that is budget, that is not going into more game, that in the past probably would have went into more game or just another game. But no, it's known, safe brands only, monolithic live services until the end of time. Will this pop? I don't know. And as much as, if it did, it would really suck for people's jobs and things, but at the end of the day, I struggle to see the sustainability of this. It seems like an amazing way for everyone to burn a hell of a lot of money, and to use dark patterns and FOMO to just gobble up people's attention, and ultimately, to make people's experience of video games as a medium small, single brand, rather than something I think a lot more broad and healthy. Anyway, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what yours are. I'll see you again soon.